When the wind blows, it blows. We know. We're going to be breaking down a little bit of this. The History of Art by Anne Shaver and Crandell. The Middle Ages. We're going to deal with Rome, just a little bit. What else we going to deal with? We're going to deal with... Gonna pick some noses and stuff like that, you know. Ugh. So, I got a little thing. It's gonna be a quick flash that I'm doing to help people out. This right here is a little mixture that I put together. No, it's not weed. It's lavender, rose, osmodeus flower, whatever that is, and cinnamon and jasmine. I put this stuff together to make a tea, and it works. Oh, and mint, and it works wonderful. Calm, easy feeling. I eat some of the herbs and stuff too. I also have another method that I do. But yeah, this is that. Me. Okay. Stop pushing each other. But yeah, this is for the people. The different ones I'm going to make are going to be more different, but you can text or email me, call me at cyraliphael@gmail.com. That's cyraliphael@gmail.com or 313-784-6916. I do music, I draw, I paint, I do designs, symbology. I put together blueprints of different stuff in my own way. I do documentary put-togethers. I do a lot of different stuff. Landscaping, demolition, ideas that I have that are for sale for people if they want them. Some pretty good ideas on changing the culture, you know, bringing fun back in there, because a lot of people don't know how to have fun anymore. Clubs and stuff are the funnest things now. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to have fun with the family. You know, not to degrade anybody, because I've been there, or talk anybody down. I'm not judging. You know, I've been there. It's more ways to have fun, better ways too. You wouldn't even think about that. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of these are gonna go for free, and some of them they're gonna go from anywhere from $3 to $5. The bigger ones are gonna be $5. Smaller ones are gonna be about $3. But some of them, a lot of them are gonna go free to the public because it's needed. There will be a lot of materials that will be free for the public, and some of the stuff will have prices to it because I have a family. And I'm working on my own career in the midst of things. And, yeah. I'm going to be doing referrals to other people's timelines and emails and Twitters. Not Twitters. Maybe in the future. But yeah, just marketing with other people, you know. Check out Kingdom Chels, check out K Bless, check out Darvon 87, check out Brother Aaron, he's connected to Darvon, check out Elder Kimash, check out Kingdom Tribe, check out K Fire, check out TTT Bless Story, check out Eshawn Burgundy, NF Real Music, Andy Minio. I haven't met all these people. The major people, you know, that I know is the people I said first, and then, you know, check out their music because they got a real message. Check out real music. That's all I can say. Yeah. We'll be posting music and different stuff on here too. But tonight we're gonna do a thinking challenge. You ready, Miss Toya? You don't have to have your face showing if you don't want to. But I'm gonna show my face because I'm doing this like it's an open debate for people to sit back and watch, or open discussion. Sorry, it's an open discussion. If people want to watch it, they can watch it or whatever. But I have my face showing because it's through my YouTube channel. But I ask people first because the camera's towards me, so it's looking at me. But if you want your face showing, I can flash it. But I ask first because everybody don't want their face showing.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm okay with, voice being heard.
That's cool. That's cool. If you want to introduce yourself though, see, hold on. I'll go like this. You can see that it's only looking towards me,
Okay.
so they can't see you.
All right.
So it will remain like that.
Yeah. Latoya Bassett.
Okay. One of the things we're going to talk about tonight is challenging our thinking. This can go in any direction you want to go in. A lot of people, you already know reality and God and Spirit, and wherever God takes us, I guess. I just want to get other insights from other people beyond myself because I don't like hearing myself talk. But it's also fair to, need more to help other people too.
Okay.
So, I speak healing over the videos, and I pray that everybody gets a better understanding, clearer understanding, Lord, that you touch our hearts and go deeper and bring us closer to you and remove all the confusion, lies, and different teachings that were false, to help people get closer to you and lead them to true repentance and just to know reality for what it is.
Okay.
I think we're going to probably start with how we view people.
All right.
You can go first if you want to, and just kind of like, whenever you feel like something, you can add on to it or whatever, and go from there. Tag team it, I guess.
Okay.
So, I heard you talking to one of the sisters earlier about shame. I definitely can touch with that, but I want to see your thoughts on that first.
My thoughts on shame. That there's a difference between shame and guilt. And that difference is guilt can come from God. It can come from our conscience. It can come. Often when we feel guilty, it's because we've really done something to deserve to feel that way. Or we feel that we have shame. Shame isn't of God, and it's not always of God. It's not. Often there's no reason for it. Not all the time. It's just you might feel ashamed, and it boils down to what, like if you feel ashamed, you feel you're a bad person, you feel you're a failure, maybe. You feel you're an outcast. You feel that if good things happen to you, that you don't deserve it or move forward. And that's often because of what other people have told you or the lies that have given you that impression about yourself. Guilt. Often when we feel guilty, there's a good reason why. And you can take guilt and make it right if you know how. Or take guilt if you're not sure how. Pray for guidance. Pray for understanding. And ask God why. But sometimes we don't always even know the difference between a demon of shame or a spirit of guilt that we have. So we mix them, we combine them, and they're similar, but they're not the same things.
So would it make sense to say, could a person lie if they felt like I didn't want their perception about me to be fed any more wrong than it would already be? You know what I'm saying? So okay, so it was a point in time in my life where, I used to judge people a lot, and I used to really just feel like everybody was either out to get me or the same. And I think that's a common thing that everyone either has or maybe still does feel. It's not. Would it make sense to say that sometimes, okay, what if somebody lied, about something in order to kind of like shake that person's perception about them for a moment, so they didn't feel like, okay, well, you was gonna do this or you was gonna do that, or you was like this or you was like, that or whatever. But you were telling the truth the whole time anyway, right? But I say this because I have built such a negative perception about myself. Now, when it comes to self condemnation, or one just beating themselves up or believing the lies that's been spoken of them of negative stuff, like, okay, you might be slow, or you're not as intelligent as other people, or you might be retarded or crazy, or you might be some people call people hoes and different stuff like that, but
Yeah.
they call them out their name because of the mistakes that they made. So they feel like they're defined by that.
Right.
So I guess my question would be, would it make sense for a person to feel like, in order for you not to define me by what you think about me, and when I'm not like that, could I lie to you to make you feel different about me?
You're saying, could you lie to make? Okay.
To make a person feel comfortable about having you around, or with who you are, could a person have the ability to lie to the people to make them feel like, okay, well, maybe this is not such a bad person, to change the perception of what they already thought in a negative view.
In a negative way.
Yeah. So like, okay, let's do it like this.
Okay.
Black people are the most creative people in the world, right?
Okay.
So that automatically sets a persona or a lighting where all black people are the most creative people in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's specifically taking that color, leaving out white people, pink people, red people, whatever color they can possibly be. It sets a perception automatically like, okay, black people are the most intelligent people in the world, which has a lot of truth to it, but it also sets a standard and a look where it's like, well, what about everybody else?
Yes.
So that's what I meant like that, because one thing that God had told me. Now, everybody doesn't believe God. Everybody doesn't believe in God. I had a guy on here earlier that told me, he said God isn't real, and then he said I was made or born for a test tube. So he tried to put all kinds of science is real, and then put stuff about stock market and economy, but we are the economy. We are the community. Without us, no nation makes money. No nation is built without the backs of its builders or slaves, right? No matter what color. So, in essence, what I'm saying is touching and agreeing. Where God had told, somebody had told me, what was Job's sin? Job had did all, like God had allowed Satan to touch his family, take his family away from him, his livestock, like everything that he had, right? Even touched him. He said, you don't kill him, but you can touch him, but don't kill him. Job's sin was self-condemnation, because in his self-condemnation, he judged God. He condemned God. The very creation cursed his creator. And his creator was reminding him, you weren't there when I made the heavens. You weren't there when I set the foundations of the earth. You weren't there when I created the stars and I called them by name. So for you to sit there and speak or think so negatively about yourself, when I just did this stuff to show you something about yourself that you probably didn't even know. And you felt like, oh, because I had all this stuff, these people around me and stuff like that. Like, I didn't even do anything wrong. And then the people that they had around him, oh, you should just curse God, his wife said, right? And die. And then his so-called 3 friends was around him sitting there condemning, oh, maybe he sinned. He didn't even do anything wrong. But at the same time, he did because he's thinking, right? Curse the day I was born. Curse me coming out of my mother's womb. All this other stuff. He was condemning himself, which is the mind of Satan. So would it be fair to say the negative things that we think about ourselves is actually the way that Satan and the angels that were cast out of heaven with him, that we actually feel their mind frames, like we can hear their thoughts, so they try to push it on us, their points of view. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So now, what about when you talk about shame? I don't say it to hurt anybody or to talk down on anybody, or nothing like that. But one area that I really, 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 really felt ashamed of, and I talked about it all the time, is like, not feeling worthy, right? Not feeling worthy to be gifted with what I've been gifted with in different ways and stuff. And just not feeling worthy as a man, period, or even at the time when I was a husband. I had listened so much to what people felt about me, what they thought about me, and I let that become my reality, if you will. So one thing the Lord says to me, he says, why do you let what other people say about you, what they think about you, bother you so much when they don't understand? It was I want to say 6 years, but I would say now it was prolonged into a 7-year revelation. Because in my own thinking about myself, yes, I can still be able to be there for other people, stand up for them, protect them, and different stuff like that. But all in all, the walls were still up of my own, So I never dealt with. I didn't deal with the thoughts that I had, with agreeing with the negative stuff. You see what I'm saying? So, I know from a woman's point of view, like, how would a woman feel about being abandoned by her father, or just not having the right attention that she deserved, or the nurturing from the father? Because a mother and a father equally are supposed to nurture the children and each other.
So you're asking, how would a woman feel that has grown up without her father in her life? Yeah.
Or being abandoned, just period, in different ways. Whether he didn't spend enough time, or his job was more important, or money was more important, whether it been other women or other things,
Or just, other things negative with him. Not to condemn him, but other things, maybe immaturity, maybe selfishness, whatever it may be. That does, like, referring to myself, for example, I grew up and I still am struggling somewhat from this. I mean, it's getting better, it's healing, but feeling an outsider, outcast, probably even worse, an outcast. Because when you're an outsider, an outsider is going to always have more dignity than the outcast, because they choose to exclude themselves. They choose deliberately to not agree with just everybody on anything. But the outcast is when you're not even, people are condemning you, they abandon you, they reject you, and they don't know you. They don't have any right to judge you, but much less condemn you or say what you do is bad because they don't understand it or they don't. But it does. I know a chaplain, long time ago, a few years ago in Miracle, like between,
Yeah, sit right here.
Yeah.
At least I found my jacket and my pillow and my pants. I'm still missing his backpack.
Hold on.
Oh, well, I don't know.
If you may hold that like that, please. It's alright.
It's okay.
And if it, you can, you gotta watch your finger a little bit right there, too. You can hold it if you want to when you talk. You don't have to. It's up to you.
You can hold it. Alright. You up there?
Yeah. Hey. Shh. Go sit down and eat that, or I'm going to take it.
For me, it did. Oh, a chaplain I met a long time ago at Memorial Hospital in Colorado Springs. My Miracle, the one with sickle cell, was in the hospital, and the chaplain would come around on that floor, children, ICU, and pray with them, with kids and their families. When he came to pray with us, and I talked to him privately about my struggles with depression, not feeling worthy, not feeling loved, not feeling I belonged. I had a place sleeping. And he told me right after we prayed. So I know that came from God because it was something he couldn't have known it otherwise. But he said even though there's a reason, and God can take something good out of you not having your father in your life, it still left a mark on you. It created a spirit of rejection. To a point where even if people are accepting you, you will reject yourself. Even if God, whether people are accepting you or not, God does, Jesus does, but we're still human. So that's a hurt, that's a scar that has to be healed in time. So what I'm saying, your question, yes, it did leave a scar on me, a mark, some kind of negative, spirit. But I can say because of my relationship with God, more and more, I see, I am just as worthy, regardless what, people are thinking, what they're saying. I do deserve. I am worthy. God has created me and given me something. My family, same thing. And in our family, every family's got the black sheep, but
Oh, is there some more ice cream and pop? Is there some more in there?
What pop?
Pop and ice cream?
Yeah, some of these. You want pop?
Yeah.
You want pop them?
Yeah. Can you give me one, please?
I
Oh, those are yours?
raspberry.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Because I haven't tried the raspberry. Thank you.
Oh. Blue raspberry pop. You got to get the bubbles on.
Hey, here, I'll show you. Candy and ice cream.
What are we saying?
Ice cream.
Oh,
Black sheep in the family.
Ice cream?
there are
Sure.
black sheep
You
in the
already
family. That's just part of every family, the generational curse. And in our case,
You don't want one.
my mother, myself, and now even my little sisters,
Come on, man. What's up?
and my aunt
Come on.
down in the Springs,
Hey, what I tell you about
my
that?
cousin, we've always
What I tell you
been
about that?
the black sheep in ours. our family. So, to a point where even when you're doing good in life, they're just,
A bunch of that goes
you
on.
can never, even when you're doing good in life, there are those people that are never going to see good in you, whatever good you may have. And when you're going through hard times, when you're down, they kick you, they stomp on you, they look down their nose and thinking that it's your fault. Your fault, you've been evicted again, you weren't paying the rent, you just things like that. And it's only because of God that I gain any strength from, does it bother me? Does it hurt me? It does. But I'm at a point, and I work with my therapist on this too, where I don't want to give it time and energy anymore, because it isn't worth it. It isn't right. The other night, maybe almost 2 weeks ago, we were talking to that couple, the Simons, and we were talking about, what was it, people, you learn. You meet other people outside of your circle, and you learn, you don't have to be. A lot of the bad things, some of the bad things they put on you aren't true. But you also see they need more help than you do. Even more so, they're more lost than you are. Or they're stuck in their own little ways. And they're not living, they're not experiencing, they're not, maybe some part they're not even growing. But your question, that does affect me, yeah, as a woman, yeah, it does. But, sorry.
That's okay. Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But my attitude now, I have to pray for help and forgiveness, not condemning, not judging my father too hardly. Last time I talked to my father, I was between 10 and 11 years old. And I'm 33 now, but I don't, my mother from the first day, when I became an adult, she never influenced me against him. She never taught me against him. And she always left it open. You're grown. If you wanted to find and contact your father, I couldn't stop that, and I wouldn't want to stop that. But now I don't even have a desire to. I don't. And ironically, I feel even more whole. Complete. In that my mother, strong woman, been as much my mother and as much father she could be, then beginning to see there was a reason that God did it, that God allowed it to happen.
Hold on, I'm busy. I couldn't find
right
these.
back.
And I just went and bought these. Yeah, they talking to deal, man.
Actually, I'm hungry.
I watched Old today. I went to the laundromat and watched all of it.
That's what I want to end up doing. But I didn't wash my sheets.
Okay. I didn't even know
Because I ran over both these big toes
that
forklifts.
she was going through stuff like that. You know, about her dad. I didn't even know. As you can already see, the Lord already working. You know, I didn't even know. It was funny. Take a bubble break.
I was gonna go pick up time bag.
Haven't had an actual coffee cold in a long time. It tastes pretty good. It's like the blue version of that one sickle. See, I didn't even know that you had, was going through stuff like that. You know, you really never know. But see if I can do this, because I don't talk about it to everybody, you know. As far as I grew up foster care system we talked about, mental health treatment centers. I grew up. I had other people's moms and dads that I called moms and dad. Nothing against my own. One thing I kind of wanted to touch on and ask too, because I don't know if you may ever have felt this, because I got to a point, I did get to see my mom and dad, for 7 years. I prayed to God at 10 years old, 10 to 11 to 12. If one day I could see my mom and dad, brothers and sisters and everybody, live with them, some for a period of time, others for a period of time, from that time to 22, it actually came to pass, when I was turning 22 and on up. One thing that I learned, I didn't get the reconciliation that I was looking for, or that I needed. It was a lot more chaos than anything one can call love or, family. One thing that... Go pick it up. Get some tissue and pick it up. They looked at me because I had taken pills, right? They looked at me as if I was helpless, or if I couldn't think on my own. I couldn't do anything for myself. Like, I just needed this extra help, right? Everybody needs help, but when it comes to the point of controlling somebody, and you don't know them, that's when it becomes dangerous. Okay? And for a purpose that you had nothing to do with, right? So, again, it's not to bash anybody. I'm just speaking, real stuff, because this is all raw truth.
Excuse me 1 minute. I forgot. Sorry.
It's okay. Thank you.
I forgot to even...
Oh. Tastes so good and burns my throat so good it makes the colors change. This pop.
I gotta take this one.
That carbonation made my throat burn. Hold on 1 second.
It's okay. There's one. Oh, I already picked up. Okay. Popsicle abandoned.
Man, those are really good. Had to take a cleanup break. For real.
Huh?
I was saying I had to take a cleanup break. So, yeah. I was deemed antipsychotic or psychotic, bipolar, severe anger, PTSD, ADD, ADHD, for a problem that the government told me that I didn't have after taking 5,000 milligrams worth of psychotropic medication for 14 years. So, I was denied Social Security benefits in the state of Colorado 5 times and then 2 times in Detroit. By the 8th time that it came around, I was done with it because I had gotten tired of people trying to control my life with money. People that wasn't in part of my life, they popped up in my life when money came around, or when the thought of money was to come around, right? Then, in order to make their money through psychosis therapy and regular therapy and stuff like that, you gotta have prescriptions and stuff like that. Pharmakia. They make their money off of destroying people's lives and murder. Witchcraft that it is, but I got tired and sick and tired of being defined by people's thoughts of, oh, he's like this, or he's like that, he need this, he need that. Like, I couldn't think for myself. I had no say-so in what I wanted to do, or, what I really liked. People would ask me what I liked, but I always felt like I was trapped in a place where, like, nobody could ever see me, nobody could ever find me. I understood instantly people who cared and people who didn't care. People who actually listened and heard, and people who just like, yeah, and you ain't hear squat. Because 10 minutes later, 2 days later, you treat me like I'm psychotic or I'm some kind of nut that doesn't make any sense. And I know you understand what I'm saying. I had high hopes. I knew it wouldn't be exactly what I had hoped it would be. But I had high hopes, that I would be able to, at least build, at least a friendship, And I had got to the point where I had to tell my mom, and I told my pops, in a different way, the only thing we can have right now is a friendship. Build a friendship. As far as being mother and son, it doesn't exist. And I got to the point, I couldn't feel bad about it. Because I'm not saying it to be mean. It's just the point, like, I don't know what it feels like. So, trying to get that reconciliation of, feeling like I matter to my mom and my pops, is like when I didn't more scrutiny and mockery than anything and persecuted and abandoned, it kind of just, I got to the point where it's like, okay, well, at least the only mother and father I got is Jesus Christ. I didn't feel bad about it. I did, although, feel like, dang, I hope I didn't hurt their feelings, though. Because I can say that they did try in different areas, but maybe they could have tried. Maybe we all could have tried harder in different areas, or been calmer, or approach things more non-judgmental. And I believe I could say that truthfully for myself. All of us. Period. I couldn't say that probably like 2 years ago, though. So I can sympathize to a degree because even my mom, she grew up around a lot of violence too. She witnessed somebody in the family literally getting stabbed in front of her face. She's been beat on. She's dealt with this kind of the same thing I dealt with. Not being loved by her own mother. Like really feeling that, like you can be around somebody and be like 10 million miles away at the same time, and you can see him every day. Feel underappreciated. I've met a friend that I call my family, and I say that because I know the reality of it. This woman is like a really, 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 really phenomenal woman. She takes care of 2 babies. She's been excelling like super, super, super good. We all got our character flaws. We all got our issues and stuff. But I'm inspired by her as, she is a woman. It got like the majority of my pain. Wait a second. The majority of my pain came from women in life. One woman tried to drown me, saying my mom never loved me while she was trying to give me a bath. From being mentally and physically abused and even messed around with in sexual ways, not ever penetration and stuff like that, but ways that were just not okay. I came to the point where okay, probably shouldn't eat it all fast. I came to the point, like, even in the church, right? Every person's not the same, and I can agree with that. As blind as I was in many areas where I wouldn't admit it at times, I can admit now that everybody's not the same. So I formed my world and everything that I felt about myself because of how other people felt about me. I created this this castle, if you will, this illusion where if I'll let you close enough, but if you hurt me, I'll cut you off. Period. I'll hear you. I'll try to get to know you. But you can't get to know my heart because if I expose myself, then I gotta be vulnerable to you, and I don't want to allow myself to be vulnerable because I know you can hurt me, and if I let you hurt me once, you'll probably continue to do it. So, in the process of that actually happening, I got like super, super bitter, very unforgiving. I hated God. I hated everybody. Like, I had thoughts of killing people, killing myself. And I'm not ashamed to admit it because I know everybody has thoughts like this. Everybody won't admit it, but, being able to admit it is where the healing begins. Because it's a place of letting go and exposing that scar, like, ouch, it hurts, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes even talk about it, like, I'm inside, like, I'm ready to cry. Which is fine because it's like, that's part of the healing process. But I just could not let go of what was so wrong with me. I felt like a monster. I felt like I had been so humiliated, like even being married, at the time I felt so humiliated because all I wanted was a family because I haven't had it. I had it, but I did. I had it in different ways that most people probably wouldn't. Foster homes, residential treatment centers, God still brought love to me in his own way where I was able to learn and obtain the nurturing that I needed. But even still to this day, at 28 years old, 3 children, and God doing a whole new thing in our lives, starting us over, giving everything back, like he said, in a different way. It's like, um, what was I saying? Mercy. Forgot what I was saying. Oh, I can admit, like I was very angry, which is one of the reasons why I did what I did. When I smoked weed, like I used to smoke to get high. Like that was the whole purpose.
He's sitting in the door.
Okay. I did it because it was my place where I could get away from the world. I could get away from the scrutiny, even though I knew it was there. But I could be like, it was like me being trapped in my own thoughts. I shut myself in that house of thoughts, where it's like now I can control the thoughts. I can express myself in this area. I can arrange the different words and the thoughts to make sense. I can arrange it where it's like I can see the world. I can see that there's problems that people ignore. There's things that people won't discuss. There's things that people, they sit there and look at somebody, mock them because they stutter. They mock them because they look different. They might have a limp or, something. And this is things that I used to do as well. Never expecting, maybe it was God in his own humorous way kind of mocking me as well for doing that, But if it was or if it wasn't, it was just either way. But I used to scream at God, and I used to get so hateful. I was like what, like cussing, like what's wrong with me? You know what I'm saying? Bless you. Like why doesn't anybody love me? I just couldn't figure. Bless you. Bless you. 1,000 times over in every way. I just couldn't understand it. And it bothered me.
Can you give me out some deodorant?
It bothered me, like so much, It was a point in time where I was like, well, at least I care, and I got to the point where it was like, maybe I care too much and I shouldn't care, Then I got to the point of not caring at all. I smoked bath salt, I popped ecstasy, Opana, Tylenol, as high as they can get, I started taking the medications that they were giving me as like recreation too, drinking Theraflu and liquor and wine throughout the day while I'm getting high and popping pills, taking Xanax, I had already a super high tolerance for intoxications. So it was like literally like numbing myself, and trying to stay numb as much as possible, because then I can't feel the pain, but all the while it's like the pain's turned into dreams, and the dreams, were it was the actual things that I had to actually face. And slowly and surely, okay, go play. Go play. Slowly and surely, I started getting thoughts coming to me where it's like, you're going to have to deal with this, right? Like, you're going to actually have to sit down and face these things and actually deal with them face to face. And you can't run from them anymore. So, the thoughts come in and out, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll deal with that later. Then stuff starts happening, like why, where did this come from, and now why did it just happen like that, but I kept silent a lot, I didn't want to talk to people. Like I said, I grew up, I learned Islam, I learned Catholicism, Christianity, atheism, I learned just different stuff, I've sat with all those groups of people, I've sat with people that I was one of them that mocked God before too, South Park, when they called him Jeebus instead of Jesus, or you stupid Jew, like we used to tell, call the people like in school and stuff, you stupid Jew, you a Jew, not knowing that I am one of them, years down the line, not even knowing, like, dang, like, I'm a Hebrew, a real one though, by blood and by spirit, reality, but not even knowing that, so, I hated God, I cursed, I was like Job, I cursed myself, but I cursed God in my heart too,
You better not.
at one time, it was thoughts that passed through my mind, like, it's just like, I'm God, and I know that I'm not. But that's how the enemy will literally twist your own thinking against you and use it against you because you believe it. You know, whether good or negative, he can literally, like pride. If a person gets too prideful, you know, now it's really all about you. You know, that's a form of I'm exalting myself now because I did it. You know, I feel the empowerment of being empowered by my own accomplishment. It's the same thing. You know, idolatry. But I had
Keep your finger out of can. Keep your finger.
I had imagined this character that I would become, you know, for purposes of that people didn't listen to people. They just looked down on people that were homeless or people that were poor or people that didn't have, kind of like us, you know what I'm saying, black sheep. I never fit in to most places, you know. I tried and it was like it was hell trying to. It was nothing but the worst pain because I finally got to the point of this year, you know, realizing like I'm just not. I wasn't made to fit in with people. You know, I was made to be an outcast. I was made to outfit. You know, that's why what I put on. Some people don't want to be around us because what we're wearing. But if you're not comfortable with what I'm wearing, should I be bothered by it because you're not comfortable? Don't you wear what you're comfortable wearing? You know. So you know, certain things still bother me to an extent, like family, like that. I tell people, you should feel glad and feel blessed with the mother and the father that you have. If they're around you and you can actually really truly communicate with them, because I tried opening up to my mom and my pops, but it's like every time I did, it always backfired, and that sent me to a place where it's like, why bother? You know, why bother? And now it's even more where I won't even open up to them anymore because I had been so judged and condemned and then humiliated, and then everything that was sacred to me and meant something to me, it really didn't mean anything to them.
Wait, what are you looking for?
You know.
Wait, Savannah, you know they're gonna say something about that.
Put it up for now.
And then I got to the point where I don't know, you know, I hated them. I ain't even gonna lie. You know, I hated my mom, I hated my pops, I hated everybody that hey, no, come here, give me that. That's not a toy. That's for the ring. And I asked you to stop running in here screaming. Why you eating my sucker? Let me get that. Thank you. You gonna rob me? Bye. Go ahead. Stop running in the hall. Stop screaming. Go have a seat somewhere. Rob me of my own sucker. I want to know how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop on my own. No, but you know, I ended up hating them for it. You know, and it took me a while to admit that. You know, I did over time to God, but I didn't really admit it to people. Like, I hated my mom. I hated them for it because it's like, all I wanted to do was get to know you. You know, I gave my heart, and all y'all did was stomp on it. You know, y'all treated it like, you know, I was just this crazy person that talks about God. You know, my mom told me, you don't know God. You need to get away from them church people. You know, which is a reality that kind of actually happened. You know, but realizing and understanding more and maturing more, you know, what the church is and what it actually represents, you know, which goes back into loving yourself versus condemning and defrauding yourself. Once you know who you are, we know that God loves us. The Lord came to me late last year before I came here. He sent this phenomenal woman back into my life, you know, and he used her to, like, literally, for me personally, it was like literally he used her to help revive my soul, you know, because I was in a dark place, and it's like, you know, I got to the point where it's like, you know, what's the use? I'm about to go back to smoking. I'm about to go back to drinking. You know, I'm about to be this horrible, crazy monster that people really want to see, but I'm about to be 10 times worse. I'm not about to give nobody no slack, none. You know, as soon as somebody goes off and says something the wrong way, then if I gotta hit y'all, then that's what I'm gonna do. Like, that was what my mind frame was not even 7 months ago. So I'm in there crying. I'm thinking about, you know, the abandonment, you know, of my wife at the time, or we had been abandoned, you know. Like, even in marriage, you know, like, I messed up a lot as a man because I didn't let her I didn't let her do. I didn't let her learn the way that she wanted to learn. I wanted to protect her, you know. I got in the way trying to protect my family, which is nothing wrong with it, but at the same time where sometimes we choose things that God does not want for us. Sometimes people will make those comments and make you think like, wait a minute, what? So you knew this the whole time? You know?
Yeah.
But all in all, like, he allows the suffering to happen to show us, like, sometimes he just keeps us away from people to protect us. He'll keep us away from situations to protect us. Even though I grew up in foster homes, mental health treatment centers, whatever, had abuse in different types of ways. Even after I was adopted, it was abuse. I would get choked up against the wall from people, you know. But the reality of it was, I learned discipline. I learned the value of family. I learned virtue. I learned integrity. I learned what it means to have a family and to keep a family and to learn how to stand and fight for what I believe in no matter what can possibly come in my way. So even in marriage, you know, I had told God a couple times, like, I'm going to stay and I'm not moving until you tell me to move, you know. And it was hard as crap, though, you know, because, like, the spirits that you have to deal with, that it's like people don't understand. They can laugh about it. They can call you this. They can call you that. But at the end of the day, even people that go through stuff, like even people that follow God, we feel more than most people feel because we feel everything they feel. Because we feel we're here from God's heart. And we share God's heart. So the more we literally, like, the brokenness and the pain is us dying, and the suffering is us dying to ourselves. And if we allow God to do what he wants to do and submit to it, like, fine, you know, I don't understand it, but please just do whatever it takes. You know, that's a place of submission and surrender, whereas, like, I have to and I want to love more than any amount of pain that I can have. And that brings us in a state where it's like most people would never even dare to think about, you know, wanting to be in a place like that, because it's a place of literally you're completely exposed. You're completely, like, like, you may have walls, but you're vulnerable on all sides. And that's what I see as far as, you know, I don't really talk about what God calls me. You know, I think people can kind of figure that out whenever it comes. And if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't think it's important for me to let them know what God says I am, you know, what my giftings and stuff is, you know. But anyway, I think even in my mom and my pops and all them, you know, I noticed, like, they have a lot of great potential, but it's like we all sometimes just waste it on things that doesn't even matter. We hold on to the pains, and we use that pain as an outlet to either lash out versus using that pain as a way to, in the midst of my pain, let me encourage you. In the midst of my lack, let me help give you something, even with the little that I have. You know, you can help people with the very little that you have, as well as having something and you're together, if you will, got yourself together, and you can still help people. The woman that had very little oil and flour, Elisha came to her and told her to bake, barley cakes or some type of cakes with it. And she's like, I only have a little bit, enough for me and my son, right? But by her doing it, that means she felt in her heart, and she knew in her heart there was something behind it. She had an understanding, right? So in the midst of her being obedient and cooking for this prophet, that she recognized this is a person from God's heart. Like, this is somebody that God has sent to me. And the instructions may seem crazy. It may be like, why would you ask me to use the last of what I have to make you something to eat, you know? When I can't even feed myself and my own child, you know? Why would I just do that not knowing if I'm going to eat later, if we're going to eat later or not? You know, I'm giving you everything I got right now. Same thing, you know, I had felt with God. Like, I had told him, and I made him if you will, it was like a promise. You know, I told him, I don't care whatever I have to lose. You know, I just want to make sure that I get to you and I get to live with you in heaven. You know, I told him, you know, I'll walk away from I was serious about it. Like, I'll walk away from my wife if I got to. Didn't expect that things would happen in that type of way where it's like I didn't walk away from her. You know, I actually didn't walk away. He had told me to go. You know, he said, let her go. And I sat there, I fasted on it, I prayed on it, I read the Bible, I read everything about marriage, divorce, the cause and effects. It went even back even further into the Jewish Hebrew, the Jewish ancient ways of marriage and stuff like that, and what was the causes and stuff. I asked other people. One prophet came to me. He said, well, there's several cases for divorce in a marriage. When your partner goes and have sex with another person, right? And they keep doing it, or even if it's like abuse, there's a case for it. But I didn't even believe him at that. I was like, nah, that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you just lying. That's not true. Went back into reading and different stuff like that. But then it came to a point where God has continued to bring other people and stuff too, and people that like, is the person saved? Is they this? Is that? I used to get rid of those people because it's like, what you mean is she saved? She goes to church, she claps her hands, she worships the Lord, says hallelujah and stuff, sings and stuff. What you mean is she saved? So I learned even about myself, saved is not a state where I'm going to this building and saying hallelujah, dancing, doing a whole program of stuff and getting involved with the community. Saved is literally a mindset. It's a mentality of growth and maturity, if you will, of understanding and knowing what exactly is going on, what has to be done no matter what, and what cannot be done no matter what. And if we choose to do either or no matter what, there's always going to be either a reward or a consequence to it, by our own choice. Is this making sense?
Yes.
So, I would start to ask God, okay, is this person for me? Is that person for me? Right? So...
Only sometimes it could be a stalemate.
True. Chess. I like that guy. Chess. And I started looking at myself like, dang, what's wrong with me, this, that, and the other, but, I didn't pay attention to the hints that God was giving me. Before I had gotten married, and again, nothing against the people, I'm sharing real life stuff because I think it's important that people think about this stuff, If you can't see yourself enduring whatever it takes or doing everything that you can possibly do to stand in it, don't get involved with it. Don't even do it. You gotta have the same values. It's important. That's why God says, "Be not unevenly yoked with an unbeliever." When a person can see all these gifts and stuff, and they're like, yeah, hallelujah. And then when you don't start seeing it or whatever, you're in trouble. Then you get a negative mindset. And now he's like, whatever, he this, that, and they don't want to be told nothing. Jesus said to the same 5,000 people that followed him, you don't follow me because of miracles. You follow me because I have food. I have something I can physically give you. That's why you follow me. You don't follow me because of the actions that I'm showing you. Like, do you not understand? This is mind-boggling, like beyond your wildest. Science can't explain this type of stuff. Exactly. Mind blown. I like this guy. Just everywhere. I like this guy. It's cool. Stalemate.
Like me.
Yeah, man. It's cool. You can get in on this conversation too. For real. But it's like same thing. We do each other the same way. Oh, I'm gonna be your friend because you got this. You got a house. You got a car. You got jewelry. You got money. You got TVs. You got games. You got all types of shoes and clothes. But when people don't have that, then it's another situation. Oh, you bum, you this, you that. Who told you?
I'm sorry.
No, you good.
Or because people become so complacent. People become fair weather. They become complacent. They become... Again, it goes back to pride, to vanity, to being short-sighted, narrow-minded. Just because something doesn't look like what you want or what you think it should, at the time, does not mean, then you're ready to discard me. You're ready to look down. And then there are people, I do feel this is important too, there are people. And Jesus, every prophet, but especially Jesus Christ himself struggled with I'm showing you. You're seeing miracles, but you still continue to doubt. You still, no matter what I do, no matter what I'm showing you of the Heavenly Father, no matter what miracles I manifest, what wonders I work, whatever wisdom above and beyond, heaven sent wisdom that comes straight from my Father that I tell you, give you anything, you're going to doubt it. You're going to still continue to doubt me, to doubt my Heavenly Father. You're going to still continue to doubt. It goes back to the same thing. There are people, like the figure of speech, they talked about Jesus Christ. They backstabbed him and worse. So sad as it is, what do you think some of them would do for any of us? Not all people are that way, no. God does bring and lead us to people that have, with it, that love and have something in common, that know him, but there are the majority. Every one of us, every human being in their life.
Go sit down and be quiet. Go to the bathroom.
Every human being, as long as you walk through a mission, a journey, a lifetime on earth, you're going to be hurt. You're going to be rejected in some way. People are going to disappoint you, or you may even disappoint them. And you're going to have people that they're always critics. They don't, no matter what you do.
Okay, never please them.
No. And here's an example. Okay. It's hard for me to share this now. I mean, I'm not as ashamed of it. But again, I'm 33 years old and I'm still a virgin. And that's not something I could share, that I was able to share so easy. And it still is something I'm careful about sharing. Not just because of mockery or worrying, but then you'll have demons testing you after, you'll have wolves in every flock of sheep. You'll have wolves. You'll have, you never want to, like you were saying, put too much of yourself out there and become vulnerable, because, those evil predators, they will attempt to hunt you or prey on you. But again, that's something I used to struggle with, all because of family. My aunt being one of them. Same thing with my relationship with God. There were things, let me just say, things I don't care to discuss, but not only, was I mocked, but mocking God. You get the type that are like, you're a holy roller, you should be a nun because you don't have sex yet, you haven't had sex yet, and, maybe you never will. But the funny thing, and I noticed this like 3 years ago, 2015, in a church I was in and taking this class about healing and God helping us to break strongholds or yokes that were placed on us since, pretty much from 3 years, 3 years old on up.
Or even before we were born?
Yes, even before we were born, even before we were developing in our mother's womb. Yeah. Oh, hang on. And mind you, I don't have to put this out here to brag, but I do feel it's important. Then you get some people that they really, women that really don't know what it is, what our true womanhood is, and what to, so they take that part of you that's, some respect it and others are backward, like, you know, I've dated, guys, men, hundreds, this, again, not something I'm bragging, but I do feel it's important to say because people need to know. I know it doesn't make me antisocial, doesn't make me less of a woman, of a lady, of a person than you are, or than they are, you know. But the flip side of the coin, and I realized this, when I started, we had to write forgiveness letters in that class, an example. Someone that it really hurt us and that we needed help just releasing that and then just giving it to God. You write the letters and you write it in present form, like I forgive you, even though this, you know, and then end it in a prayer, you know, turning it around as a prayer, putting it in God's hands. And then we burn. Just burn. But anyway, that was a good class. And it did help some, but it was, my letter was on my aunt. And the funny thing is I realized, you know, I'm a virgin. I have a relationship with God. You know, you mock that. You don't understand it. But now the flip side of the coin is, had I ended up a prostitute, a whore, catching a disease, I mean, this was the same woman that when I did, whoever I dated, whatever guy I had interest in, she had to find something that was, okay, then, well, something, you know, he's just flat stupid. She has bad taste. So you see, if I put walls up and kind of isolated myself, which I used to do that, then you called me hermit, you know, recluse, antisocial. But what friends I did make when I began to, especially getting up from up under your family or the people that want to control you or oppress you or beat your self-worth down for no good reason, and just there, and they make, unfortunately, they make good doorways. Someone at church had mentioned that to me too, the pastor's wife, about sounds like your aunt is a doorway, can be a doorway for Satan to get at you. And that's not to say she's a bad person, no. But my aunt has some issues of her own that for whatever reason she's not dealing with. That's her anger with God. It just, so bottom line, where I'm going with all this, okay, I got out, I'd make friends, you would find something wrong in the friends I made. So, point right here is there's some people that we have to watch out, be prepared for these types of demons too, that will try, that Satan will try to, you know, you fall into becoming vulnerable or sensitive because you're like, okay, nothing I'm ever doing is right. If there's nothing, you know, all I do is wrong. If there's nothing when it comes to, people that just make you feel defeated or like you're a failure in every area of life.
And a lot of it comes from relatives.
It does.
And they do it in different ways.
They do. Relatives or, ironically, and my therapist last year had just shared this with me. Learning more about my family, some of the things that they even imposed upon my mother. My mom's not a weak. My mother's kind of always been that, like they say, and like I learned, every family has a curse, a generational. Every family, every kingdom, every whatever group you are in, there's a curse somewhere. And that it can be broken, but once it, it's not only, yes, the first way is to find God, get to know God, accept Jesus into your life, become involved with Him, associate with Him, and then the other thing is about breaking curses. I'm going to say this. You can't break a cycle and you're still stuck right in the middle of it. You can't. It takes there's someone that God can work through to break that curse.
Okay.
On all. That kingdom, that dynasty, that family, whatever it is. But part of breaking curses, and it's not easy, is having a different perspective. That's what people fear, especially people up under Satan or for whatever reason aren't right with God, aren't trying to be right. They're just, and then there are people that don't mean harm to you, but they're not good for you either. But it takes new perspective.
And it takes God's perspective.
God's perspective, yes. And I understood this because I've always had a relationship with God. But more so in growing, since I was baptized and then growing in Him. Like I would hear pastors say, okay, the Holy Spirit will help you love people, respect and love, and even help people people you love to hate, people that made you hateful in the first place. It'll help you, He'll help you to love if He's truly inside you, inside your temple. It'd be unconditional love. You grow in it. There's no measure. Because there's no measure to His love. You will see, and something else, going back to what you were saying about being broken. Another reason God allows, and you see this in the Bible too.
Maya, stay in there with that, or I'm going to take it.
And another thing, and you see in the Bible, a lot of prophets, a lot of the anointed were misfits, they were nomads, they were travelers, they were outsiders, they were oddballs, people that are,
Weirdos.
Yeah, yes. So, that's another thing. Do I feel ashamed of being different? I used to, and then there's still those days where you do. But deep down inside, no. I mean, in the core, my heart of hearts, no. My little spirit, no, I don't. feel ashamed of being different from the crowd I was, I don't. Does it get lonely? Does it get frustrated? It does. It can. But then, something my therapist said, when God, when He's taken out of your, He's cleansing you and your life and taking or removing you from anything or anyone that is not of Him. That includes inside of you, in whatever personal demons you have to face, and outside of you. The wolves, the demons that are just free in the world, floating, that walk in and out. My aunt, she isn't a bad person. That's the thing. Does she love me? Yes. Does she love my mother? Yes. But it takes, yes, perspective and then the right, and then God's. You can't. Going back to the misunderstood, when God fills you, you will see and appreciate, and even before that, something, the beauty in everything. You'll see, and you'll be able to understand and relate to things that are, take the animal world, animal kingdom. Something God helped me learn, but even more, that I've always loved animals. All kinds. But spiders being one of them.
Oh, man.
But I can say, okay.
Oh, you're okay.
Oh, spiders. But I could still, that love and appreciation for animals, for other creatures, and then now that grows stronger, knowing God. One of my favorite parts, Noah's Ark, when He told Noah, you take the clean and the unclean. He didn't say you take the animals that are tame, that are domesticated. He didn't say you take the animals that you think are cute. You take the creatures that will crawl in your lap or will allow you to pet them or climb on their back. You take all of the mammals, all the animals that have the most in common with you, and leave every other creature out. No. Because God says, my rain falls
On the just.
And the unjust. And I have created the sun, my sunshine, to shine on the wicked, the good and the wicked, the clean and the unclean. So, but my point there, you can see when it's really God filling you with is something that's maybe a gifting, an anointing, or understanding with Him. It's, you see, I'm not some of the bugs, other things, no. I'm not crazy about them, no. But I don't see anything, that I have to stomp on them. I don't, maybe that sounds weird, but there are, again, animals was my love for them. And the more different they are, the bigger my interest in them. My family, most of our families never been cat people. And that's because of what the baby boomer age, my mother used to hate cats. Terrified of them. Now, she's not what you call a cat person, but now, because I had a cat, Miracle had a cat. Now, when I got a kitten, my first kitten, and it grew with us. My mother didn't like it, grown-up cats, but she loved kittens. And a friend at her job let her know, if your kids, if you just really want to get your daughter If she wants a cat bad enough, just buy it. Just get her, yeah, of course, a kitten. Bring it home. You'll love it, and as it grows, it's gonna grow with, in your family. It's gonna, by the time it's an adult, you're gonna love it and look at it in a completely different way. You may never be crazy about cats, but you'll love your cat. And come to see where they are. They're not all bad. They're
Right.
not all evil. But, that's what happens. But again, most of our families are not cat people.
Right.
So that's just something, that's an example.
Right. So I like spiders as far as like to look at them from a distance, but as far as like, I'll stomp on some spiders too. Because it's like,
And that's okay. Let me put it this way. No, I don't want a spider in my home or near me, or I'm sure, but I don't. But I can watch a show, I can look at them, I can even walk outside. And I've seen them, especially since we moved to Denver.
right.
Big ones, you see a lot of creatures and animals that we don't see down in the Springs. The geese, there aren't geese like this down in Colorado Springs. I mean, probably around like Fort Carson, military at Broadway, like that.
Right.
I didn't see them.
That's sorry. Hello. Hey.